All right, today we're going to look at 5 number summary and box plots. We started this yesterday. Today we're going to look at what we did. So the 5 number summary is going to be the smallest value, quartile 1, the median, quartile 3, and the largest data value. So that's the 5 number summary, and the 5 number summary is going to be given to you using your graphing calculator. Or if it's a small enough list, you could calculate it by hand, perhaps just about as quickly. So if we look through an example here, every 6 months the United States Federal Reserve Board conducts a survey of credit card plans in the U.S. The following data are the interest rates charged by 10 credit card issuers randomly selected for the July 2005 survey. Determine the 5 number summary of the data. So the data is this, different banks and trusts. So if we were going to do this by hand, what would we do? What's the first step? Arrange them from least to greatest, all right? Determine the median, and then determine the middle of the lower 50% and upper 50%. So first write the data in ascending order. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 values. So we got the top 5 and the bottom 5, and the median is right between the top 5 and the bottom 5. So what is the median going to be? Without, if y'all are looking at your notes, try not looking at your notes. What's the median of this going to be? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The median is between 13.3 and 13.9, which is what? 13.6 is correct. Okay, so 13.6 is our midpoint, median. It's right here. Boom, 13.6. Quartile 1, 12%. Quartile 2, quartile 3 is 14.4. So our 5 number summary is 6.5, 12, 13.6, 14.4, and 14.5. What's the interquartile range? 2.4. It's quartile 3 minus quartile 1. And we could determine upper and lower fences. You see where we're going with all of this, right? Okay, so all that's going to play into what we're looking at today. So the smallest number is 6.5. So there's our quartile values. There's our 5 number summary. And we're going to use the 5 number summary to draw and interpret a box plot. Now you guys, we saw some box plots in Algebra 1. We didn't spend a lot of time, and that was many years ago. But box plots are pretty simple. The first thing we want to do is determine the upper and lower fences for the data. Lower fence is, again, quartile 1 minus 1.5 times the interquartile range, and the upper fence is quartile 3 plus 1.5 times the interquartile range. And so IQR for us is there. Okay. Then step 2 for drawing a box plot is draw a number line long enough to include the maximum and minimum values. Insert vertical lines at Q1, M, and Q3, and close those vertical lines in a box. Label the lower and upper fences. Draw a line from Q1 to the smallest data value that is larger than the lower fence. Draw a line from Q3 to the largest data value that is smaller than the upper fence. These lines are called whiskers. Any data values less than the lower fence or greater than the upper fence are outliers and are marked with an asterisk. Okay? All right, so let's look at this in the same set of data again, right? So we got this data. The lower fence, we got the IQR. We already said the IQR was 2.4, which means the lower fence is quartile 1, which was 12 minus 1.5 times the inner. So 8.4% is the lower fence. On your box and whisker plot, there's your lower fence right there. Use a bracket. Okay, is that large enough on your graph to? You might want to mark that. That's the lower fence. The upper fence is quartile 3 plus 1.5 times 2.4, which is 18%. There is our upper fence on my box plot. Okay, now your box and whisker plot starts at your smallest value that is not outside the fences. Okay, it can't be below the lower fence. So what was that smallest value? Looks like it was, what's this value right there? 8 point what? From our data values, from the raw data values. Let me look at it here. Why can't we use 6.4 as a starting point? It's outside the fence, right? It's 9.9. Okay, so the whisker starts at 9.9%. The whisker stops at our largest value that's not above the upper fence, which is 14.5. So there's 14.5 is where we stopped our whisker. This is a vertical line at Q1, a vertical line at Q2, which is the median, and a vertical line at Q3. Now, what does that show us? What is this graph showing us about the data? Skewed right, skewed left, what is it? Left, right? The tail is longer on the left. The median is over to the right. Where would we expect the mean to be for this data? The mean's probably going to be somewhere maybe right in here. If the mean is to the left of the median, quartile 2, then it's skewed left. All right, so that's a box and whisker plot. Okay, so vertical lines at quartile 1, the median, and quartile 3, and we box those in. And then what do we do with our whiskers? The left-hand whisker extends to the smallest value that's not below the lower fence. The upper one extends to the largest value that is not above the upper fence. And what is this value way down here? Asterisk? That's our outlier, okay? So you might want to make a point of putting that down. All right? So that's how we draw a box and whisker plot. And a box and whisker plot, again, we skipped over this in honors algebra. We skipped, there's one lesson in the Saxon textbook or in regular algebra 1. We skipped it because you didn't know, you'd never been taught what interquartile range is. You can imagine how difficult this would be to kind of figure out the fences and using these things as outliers. And quartile 1 and quartile 2 and quartile 3, we just didn't take the time to stop then and do it. It's not difficult, we just didn't do it then. All right, so y'all understand how that works. All right, so if we look at this, this is what various histograms would look like if they were interpreted with box plots. Okay, so let's talk about shapes. The first graph is skewed right. This one is symmetric. It looks symmetric, right? And then this one is skewed left. So the graphs of that data is the data there, and then the box plots agree. All right? So that's it. All right. Homework is 168. Review the technology step-by-step on page 170. It's just a review of how to use your graphing calculator to do these things. And a reminder that we have tests on Friday. Have y'all been working through your review sheets? Okay, good idea to be working through those review sheets so we got plenty of time to go over it Wednesday and Thursday.